Link start! Materials for this prop include cardboard, duct tape, aluminum tape, a 1/4-inch diameter dowel rod, electrical tape, a couple foam cup holders, a hot glue gun, scissors, an X-Acto blade, and a pen or pencil. Okay, for this one you'll need a couple templates. Here's the first one. Draw and cut out this design 6 times. Because it's so intricate, I recommend using a razor. Remember to exercise caution when using an X-Acto blade. The other templates you'll need are for the blade, shown here. You'll need 4 copies of the blade pieces. Line up one of the hilt pieces with the curve piece. Mark and cut out the hilt piece as shown. Tape the hilt piece to the curve piece on both sides. Repeat the process for another pair of the hilt and curve pieces, so now you have 2. As always, the location of the dowel rod is critical. For this sword, I dedicated 9 inches to the handle. So when I cut the curved portion of the blade, I gave less length to the blade so that more of the second piece would be secured to the dowel rod. Cut away this portion on 2 more hilt pieces. For the next several steps, I'm going to be creating what are called spacer pieces. Line the dowel rod in the center of one and draw a line on either side of it. Cut out this section so now it's in 3 pieces. Discard the middle piece and align the other 2 on the second hilt piece. Use them to trace lines on it and cut it the same way. Place one sword piece on the table with the dowel rod on top. Place the spacer pieces on top on either side of the dowel rod. Take 2 more curved blade pieces and place the dowel rod in the center of each and draw a line on either side. Cut out the middle section of each. Cut away this portion on all of the hilt pieces. Duct tape the dowel rod in place on the template. Remember to leave 9 inches for the handle. Cut this section out of the 2 hilt pieces. Tape the hilt spacer pieces together and place them on either side of the dowel rod. Place the curved blade spacer pieces on either side of the dowel rod 2 deep. Duct tape the dowel rod in place at the hilt. Tape the curved blade spacer pieces to the dowel rod. Place the second full piece on top of the entire sword and tape it in place. Reinforce the hilt with duct tape, especially the curve. Cut off the excess blade spacer pieces at the top. Place one of your second point pieces under the dowel rod. Be sure it's lined up with the first blade piece so the sword will be straight. Draw lines around the dowel rod and cut the space out. Repeat for the second spacer piece. Lay an intact piece below the dowel rod. Duct tape the piece to the dowel rod. Add the 2 spacer pieces to the dowel rod and duct tape them in place. Finally, duct tape the second intact blade piece on top. Reinforce the seam between the 2 blade pieces with extra duct tape. Cut a foam cup holder so that you have enough to wrap once around the dowel rod. Use electrical tape to secure it in place. To get foam to cooperate, you really need to hold it tight. If you don't, the seam won't align. See the difference? Use a couple of pieces of duct tape to reinforce the handle. Mark and cut a second foam piece to fit below the first, and repeat the process. Depending on the length of the handle, you may need to cut an extra piece at the end. Roll the entire handle in electrical tape. Wrap the hilt in electrical tape. You'll need to cut it in small pieces to get around the intricacies, and this will take a while. Wrap the blade in electrical tape. Wrap one of your remaining hilt pieces in electrical tape. I found it easier to lay it flat and place the electrical tape over it, then flip it over and cut away the excess. Wrap the edges of the hilt piece in aluminum tape, as shown. Line the edges of the sword with aluminum tape, as shown. Line the edge of the blade as well. Use hot glue to attach the hilt piece to the main sword. Use an electrical tape roll to draw a small circle on some spare cardboard. Cover the circle in electrical tape on both sides and cut away the excess. On a piece of aluminum tape, draw another circle using the electrical tape roll. Draw a second smaller circle in the first. Cut out the smaller circle, then cut it into quarters. They should be the right size to fit on the first circle, with a bit of a gap to create an X. Hot glue the piece to the sword. You'll have to repeat the process for the flip side of the sword. Cut another piece of a foam cup holder about an inch thick and long enough to go around the handle. Use electrical tape to close the loop and cover it in aluminum tape. Cut another piece of foam, again an inch thick, and tape it around the end of the handle. Remove the piece and cover it in electrical tape. Replace it on the handle. And there's your finished Elucidator, the gnarliest magic sword you can get from a monster drop.
Something's wrong. We should take the nerve gear off.
No, didn't you see the news? It'll kill him if we take it off.
So he's trapped in the game?
Yeah. But he's not alone.